Welcome to America Together Radio. I'm your host, and this is our first official program.
First episode. That means we should probably explain what people just clicked on.
Exactly. If you're hearing this for the first time, America Together Radio is a civic conversation program connected to the America Together 2028 campaign.
So not just campaign ads.
Not just campaign ads. Ads can introduce a name or a slogan, but they usually do not give people enough time to understand what a campaign is trying to build.
I was told there would be donuts.
There are no donuts.
That feels like something that should have been disclosed before recording.
And that is why we keep him in the room. He represents the undecided snack voter.
Fair enough, but that actually helps make the point. Politics often skips over ordinary human reactions. People want to know what something is, why it exists, and whether it is worth their time.
So what is the goal of this show?
The goal is to create a place where we can explain things slowly enough to be useful. Ballot access, volunteer work, local communities, campaign media, public questions, state-by-state outreach, and the broader idea behind America Together 2028.
That sounds different from the usual 30-second political spot.
It has to be. A 30-second spot can say, support this campaign, but it cannot explain how an independent campaign gets on the ballot. It cannot explain how volunteers help. It cannot walk through local issues. It cannot give people enough context to decide whether they want to learn more.
It also cannot explain the donut situation.
The donut situation remains under review.
So this is more like a radio network for campaign education?
That's a good way to say it. We want these programs to be useful even for people who are not ready to support the campaign yet. If someone is curious, they should be able to listen, learn, compare, and decide for themselves.
That matters because a lot of people do not trust politics right now.
They don't, and honestly, a lot of that mistrust is earned. People hear promises every cycle. They hear slogans every cycle. They hear attacks every cycle. Then many of the same problems remain.
So how does America Together Radio avoid becoming more noise?
By trying to be clear about what each episode is for. Some episodes will be about ballot access. Some will be about volunteers. Some will be about local communities. Some will explain campaign materials. Some will answer questions. Some will feature approved messages from Jeremy Levan. Some will include music from the campaign media library.
So sometimes music, sometimes civic education, sometimes me asking about donuts.
Occasionally.
That's all I needed.
Let's talk about the name, America Together. What is the idea behind that?
The idea is simple. Americans do not have to agree on everything to work together on the things that matter. A country this large will always have disagreement. The question is whether disagreement means permanent paralysis, or whether people can still cooperate where cooperation makes sense.
That is a little different from pretending everyone thinks the same way.
Right. America Together does not mean America identical. It means Americans still share roads, schools, communities, jobs, families, emergencies, responsibilities, and a future.
And the show is meant to make that idea easier to explain.
Yes, a campaign can have websites, documents, music, social media, and public statements. But a show allows those pieces to breathe. It gives us time to say, here is what this means. Here is how it works. Here is why it matters.
A fishing boat heads out from Mobile Bay again. The factory's home. The class.
That was a selection from the America Together campaign music library. We'll keep featuring music throughout these programs as part of the larger media project.
County lines, coffee brewing, screen door swing. Another day begins again. The truck rolls down to.
And that was our second short music feature. As the library grows, these shows will continue blending civic conversation with campaign media.
Let's come back to the listener. Suppose someone is hearing this and thinking, okay, but what do you want me to do?
Good question. For the first episode, the answer is simple. Listen, look around, and decide whether you want to learn more.
No hard sell.
Not here. There will be episodes about volunteering, donating, signature collection, and ballot access. But episode 1 is an invitation. Give the campaign a fair look. Review the material. Listen to the message. If it speaks to you, take the next step.
And if it doesn't,
Then at least you gave it a fair hearing.
that's surprisingly reasonable.
We try.
What should people expect from future episodes?
They should expect practical conversations. For example, why ballot access matters, how independent campaigns grow, what volunteers can do from home, why local communities matter, how state and county outreach can work, how campaign media can help introduce ideas to people who would never attend a political meeting.
So the future shows will be more specific.
Exactly. This is the front door. Future episodes walk into the rooms.
Are any of the rooms where the donuts are?
Still no donuts.
I'm beginning to question the platform.
Before we close, this would be a good place for an approved message.
Agreed. Here is an approved message from Jeremy Levan.
I am running as an independent because I believe the American people deserve choices that are not trapped inside the same old political lanes. That does not mean refusing to work with Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Independents, or anyone else. It means being willing to work with people based on whether an idea helps the country. Good ideas should not be rejected just because they came from the wrong team. America Together 2028 is about cooperation, accountability, and practical problem solving.
That was an approved message from Jeremy Levan, and that is the kind of insert listeners will hear in future episodes. Sometimes short, sometimes more detailed, always clearly marked.
That helps separate the show conversation from the candidate's direct approved message.
Exactly. The show can explain, discuss, and organize topics. The approved messages preserve the candidate's direct words for listeners.
That's useful for a media pipeline too. It means future episodes can include relevant approved messages without rebuilding everything from scratch.
Right. If an episode is about ballot access, it can include a ballot access message. If the topic is volunteering, it can include a volunteer message. If the show is closing, it can include a closing or thank you message.
So it's like a soundboard, but for civic responsibility.
That is strangely accurate.
Any final word for the first episode?
Yes, if you're listening, thank you. You do not have to decide everything today. You do not have to agree with everything today. Just give the campaign a fair look. Listen to another episode. Review the materials. Ask questions. Share the show with someone who might want to hear it.
Episode 2 should probably get into ballot access.
I think so. If this episode is the introduction, the next one should explain why getting on the ballot is such a major first step for an independent campaign.
And whether ballot access includes access to snacks.
It does not.
Then I will be filing a minority report.
On that note, this has been America Together Radio. Thank you for listening, and we hope you'll join us for the next episode.
Coffee brewing, screen door swing. Another day begins again. A truck rolls down a two-lane road.